Congratulations and thanks for taking the time to explore the profitably scalable multi-site agency blueprint. Most web designers never learn to generate recurring revenue and just keep banging out one-off website projects. But if you invest the time to watch this entire video, I'll explain exactly how you can solve that problem once and for all. And if you stay all the way to the end, you'll learn a few things that will seem absolutely magical for your business and your future. Since you're still with me, I can tell you're open-minded, but I'm sure you're wondering, will this work for me? Don't worry. Launching a multi-site agency will work for designers who are just getting started and those looking to take things to the next level. It will also work for new or established web agencies with small teams and little or no IT or developer support. It will also work if you are a talented web designer with a demanding day gig looking for a super efficient side hustle. I can't be sure if it's for you, but I can walk you through the 3 simple steps to go from a time-strapped web designer to a profitably scalable multi-site agency. First, I'll show you how to launch a scalable multi-site platform so you can quickly create site templates and prototype solutions for your ideal client avatar. Next, I'll share how to unlock value for a single alpha client with simple customizations while proving out a solution and generating profitable recurring revenue. Finally, I'll show you how to leverage your multi-site agency to scale by cloning templates to attract archetypal customers with simple, productized solutions using the tools you already know and love. But before you make up your mind, I want you to imagine Jeff Bezos back when he was just getting started. How did Jeff Bezos feel when he decided to focus everything on Amazon.com instead of building sites for booksellers who could afford his services? Just imagine what it felt like to double down on Amazon.com when it came time to help customers sell electronics instead of just launching another site. If Jeff Bezos just kept banging out one-off sites, do you really think he would still be the wealthiest man in the world? Or would he be chasing down his next gig? Now, maybe you're the next Jeff Bezos, but more likely I'll bet you're a lot like me, and you are just looking to get more out of the skills you already have. Maybe you've even tried other things to generate recurring revenue in the past, and even if you've failed, it's not your fault. Traditional hosting providers have a lot invested in making sure you continue to bang out one-off sites for their customers. Additionally, if you've ever felt like the big do-it-yourself websites want you to fail, well, then you're right. But it doesn't have to be that way, and launching a profitably scalable multi-site agency is the best way to beat them at their own game. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, my name is Donovan Guyett. I live in San Diego, California with my wife Heather and our 5 kids. When I was just a kid myself, I became infatuated with endurance sports, especially triathlon. The sport gave a kid from suburban Detroit the opportunity to live at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs and travel to exotic locations like Brazil for Ironman. More importantly, though, I learned early on how to combine my personal passions with technology to help others achieve their goals. Right out of school, I had the chance to help develop Active.com, the industry-leading online registration platform that went public in 2011. Next, I became the CEO of Training Peaks and bootstrapped the company to over $1 million a year in sales by connecting athletes and coaches around the world. From there, I leveraged what I learned hacking heart rate monitors and GPS systems to launch a medication adherence solution for the world's wealthiest doctor. Most recently, I've continued to explore my personal passions by helping some of the world's largest healthcare companies modernize their sales and marketing efforts. But how does any of this apply to you? Well, first, just like I'm not a race director, endurance coach, or doctor, I'm also not a web designer. When I try, bad things happen. I know that the big DIY platforms want people to believe anyone can build beautiful websites, but that is simply not the case. I can very easily create an ugly website on any platform. But I do have to admit that the platforms like Squarespace have made it much easier to get sites up quickly and to keep them running. And I suppose this is especially amazing for the people who own Squarespace. But there is still something a little unsettling about building sites on a proprietary platform if you are a professional web designer. That is one of the many reasons I've fallen in love with WordPress, especially when you pair it with the new generation of page builders, like Divi. As you already know, Divi gives you all the power and ease of use of the proprietary platforms combined with the freedom and extensibility of WordPress. So while I'm certainly not a web designer, I've built my career around leveraging technology to help others unlock the value in their passions. Today, I simply can't see a better opportunity for WordPress and Divi designers than launching their own profitably scalable Divi multi-site agency. Which brings us to step number 1 in the transformation from a time-strapped project-based web designer to a profitable multi-site agency owner. First, we need to launch a scalable multi-site instance so you can create unlimited templates and quickly prototype solutions for your ideal client avatar. WordPress Multisite was introduced in 2010 and is deeply integrated into the standard version of WordPress that runs over 25% of the web. Still, you don't hear a whole lot about it. You certainly don't hear a lot of people talking about using it to launch agencies to generate high margin recurring revenue. While this might seem a bit odd, there is actually a perfectly logical explanation for this. Today's hosting industry still looks a lot like it did when GoDaddy aired their famous Super Bowl commercial. The process of launching a website goes a little something like this. Web designer builds a site, client is happy. But instead of developing a long-term relationship with the designer, the client says goodbye, but continues to pay GoDaddy every month. GoDaddy pays a pretty race car driver. This is great if you own GoDaddy or are a pretty race car driver. Then, weeks, months, or even years later, the client reaches out in a panic because something has gone wrong with their website. Of course, the designer is more than happy to help, but can't easily remember where the site lives or how to log in. They finally gain access only to find a bunch of miscellaneous plugins punching each other in the face, while not a single update has ever been run. Not an ideal situation for the client or the web designer. But other hosting companies see that GoDaddy is making money hand over fist and they want in on the game too. Some of these companies and their affiliates get really good at making it easy to set up a WordPress site with a shiny new theme. They also get good at convincing people they can do it all themselves. But most of these early attempts leverage primitive shared hosting architectures, and the performance is not spectacular, even for single site installations. But affiliate incentives are strong, and a few people are crafty and perseverant enough to make it all work. Again, this is awesome if you are an Uber affiliate like Pat Flynn. Not so much if you are a customer stuck with a slow website and no idea on how to scale it into a profitable business venture. As time passes and WordPress gains market share, it becomes obvious that poor performance is no longer an option. Early pioneers like WP Engine combined a tremendous level of engineering capability with massive amounts of venture capital to make WordPress scream. Today, WP Engine generates an average of $1,333 per customer per year and $100 million in total recurring revenue from WordPress hosting and support. This is up 30% from the previous year. Simply awesome if you own WP Engine or are a VC investor. Up until now, there hasn't been a whole lot of good news if you missed out on these early waves in the story of WordPress. But the advent of cloud hosting has changed the game, and things are about to get exciting again. Today, Amazon's Web Services makes massively scalable and affordable computing available to everyone. And for the first time ever, launching a profitably scalable multi-site agency is within reach of every web designer who understands the opportunity. Now, only one challenge remains: deploying scalable enterprise-class software as a service or SaaS platforms, even those as mature and straightforward as WordPress, requires significant technical capability. While this sort of undertaking is more accessible and affordable than it ever has been in the past, it is still out of reach for most web designers. In fact, even though I have 2 master's degrees in technology and over 25 years of experience as a solutions architect, I wouldn't want to take on a project like this alone. More importantly, I would never want to attempt to maintain something like this while also trying to bootstrap a profitable business at the same time. But again, the companies that figured it out are being rewarded and proving that you can generate significant recurring revenue hosting WordPress. Pagely, which is built on the AWS cloud, charges $299 a month for single node hosting and $1,295 a month for high availability pairs. Pre-configured enterprise plans start at $2,500 a month, and custom clusters start at $5,000 a month. Fully customized solutions for elite publishers start at $20,000 a month. This is astonishing and simply awesome for the owners of Pagely or anyone running a profitable multi-site agent on Pagely. But luckily for us, Amazon is not the only cloud in the sky. When I went looking for a reference architecture to deploy WordPress on the Google Cloud, I found something thousands of times more valuable. I discovered a hosting solution offering WordPress at the speed and scalability of Google for about the same cost as WP Engine's entry-level offering. Best of all, they already developed elegant solutions for the challenges related to multi-site hosting, including multiple domains and unlimited free SSL certs. Now, I know that everyone and their mother has an opinion on hosting, but at the end of the day, life is too short to engage in holy wars. I've tried lots of other solutions and have wasted countless hours building and testing roll your own cloud solutions on both Amazon and Google. If I ever figure out a better way to launch multi-site agencies, I'll be happy to share it. But today, I only launch on Kinsta's Google Cloud platform. While we don't have time to go into all of the technical details, I'd love to show you how quickly you can launch new sites once everything is up and running. Ultimately, there are a lot of great hosting solutions you can choose to host your multi-site, but ideally, it should be totally transparent to your customers. Think about it. Do you ever worry about where your site is hosted after you've been logging into WordPress for a few weeks? Only if something goes wrong. Once you have everything up and running and configured on scalable cloud hosting, you can focus on quickly creating new sites for your ideal avatars. When everything is running fast and securely, Divi makes everything a breeze for a talented web designer. The elegant themes layouts are always at your fingertips, and the fact that they release 2 new layouts a week means that you are consistently inspired to explore new avatars. From there, it only takes a few minutes to build out an entire website with all of the standard pages you will need to get things rolling for your customers. Honestly, what Divi provides out of the box is better than 90% of what you will find out there on the web today. But since no one wants a cookie cutter website, the fact that the Divi team seems to be focused on making it easier than ever to make global changes is a true godsend and a really exciting development for Divi developers with their own multi-site platform. We've seen that it's entirely possible to generate lots of recurring revenue hosting WordPress websites, but we've also learned that it is incredibly competitive. Even with inexpensive and scalable multi-site cloud hosting, you probably don't want to go toe-to-toe with the big guys selling commodity hosting solutions. Increasingly, the big players are offering instant templates and easy design tools, so even redesigns and custom graphics won't get the job done anymore. So next, I'll show you why it is crucial to unlock valuable functionality for a real-life alpha client with simple customizations while proving out your solution. The things you can accomplish with WordPress and plugins are limitless, and this flexibility makes the platform powerful and fun to prototype on. But until you start solving real-world problems for actual people, you're really just playing with plugins like kids play with Legos. The key to generating significant recurring revenue is to solve real problems for real people and demonstrate real return on their investment. With that in mind, one of the most rewarding projects I've worked on lately was for a local musician named Eve Sellis. Our daughter is a client of Eve's, and one day while we were in the studio recording, she mentioned Patreon. There were bells going off in my head while Eve explained Patreon. She shared that it was a platform artists and content creators use to collect recurring revenue from fans, but I was still struggling to connect the dots. Eve said she had only recently launched her Patreon page, but that it was something she was really excited about. She had used services like Kickstarter in the past to raise money for new projects or albums, but starting over from scratch every time seemed inefficient. She hoped Patreon would provide a better experience for her fans, but was struggling to integrate it with her existing WordPress site. As soon as she said WordPress, I remembered where I had recently stumbled on Patreon myself. Ever notice how the day after the Elegant Themes team introduces a new avatar-inspired Divi layout, they follow up with some sort of related functionality? While I love the new layouts, I pay particular attention to the functionality, and that is how I remembered the Patreon membership blog post by BJ Keaton. I reread the article a few times, and later that night, I walked through each of the steps it outlined and quickly had a working prototype up and running. The next day, I contacted Eve to walk her through what I had built. As it turned out, Eve was getting ready to kick off a redesign of her website with a talented designer named Hannah. While Hannah was experienced with WordPress, she had recently switched to building most of her client sites on Squarespace. She had never used Divi, but she agreed to hop on a webinar with me and quickly came up to speed. She was excited after I showed her how easy it was to clone the Patreon prototype on Multisite and then make simple customizations with Divi. Within a few days, Hannah was able to port the content from Eve's original WordPress site to the Multisite platform where I built out the Patreon prototype. Since the Multisite instance was running on Kinsta's Google Cloud platform, Hannah was pleasantly surprised by the responsiveness of the Divi builder. She was able to focus on customizing the site and realizing Eve's vision, since the technical configuration was already up and running. Since everything was running on a secure subdomain, it was easy to get everything just right and fully integrated while the old site was still up and running. When it was time to go live, we simply swapped out the DNS, updated the domain, and registered a new free SSL certificate. The site is beautiful and an amazing example of how quickly and efficiently you can work with real live alpha clients to turn simple prototypes into deliverables. Since Eve is the perfect alpha customer and has big plans for her career, she's already working with Hannah on a number of updates and enhancements. Best of all, the revenue from the initial design work and the recurring revenue from support and hosting turned this multi-site agency instantly profitable. Once you've developed a truly valuable solution for a real alpha customer, you get excited to share it with other potential customers. After Hannah got the site live, we reached out to other personal musician friends to share it with them. Although these were successful musicians, you can tell from their existing websites that they weren't going to get excited by simple redesigns. But all of that changed when we walked them through what Hannah was able to accomplish for Eve with Patreon on WordPress Multisite. Of course, once you've developed a valuable solution for a real-life alpha client, you don't have to limit yourself to friends and family. When you can quickly clone and customize your prototype on a scalable multi-site platform, you are only a couple of pages away from productization. From there, all that's left is to start running ads to archetypal customers and tell them all about your solution. But now we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. And first, I'd like to show you how easy it is to clone and customize your prototypes on your multi-site agency. After you clone a prototype solution for your alpha customer, Divi makes it incredibly easy to customize once you are up and running on high-performance cloud hosting. You can work on every site in your network as easily as if you were working on a single site installation and can effortlessly flip between the site and the dashboard. Since you can initially create sites at subdomains, going live is incredibly easy. After you set up a domain mapping inside of your multi-site network, it will start listening for requests that show up as soon as you switch out the DNS. Once everything is switched over, it is easy to generate the SSL certificate, switch the site over to use secure paths, and then test that everything is working. Ultimately, your customers only care about a few things. They want their site to show up at their URL, and they want it to be smoking fast. While most customers don't even know what SSL is or why they need it, you'll be one step ahead when they decide that it's time to start making money. The final step is how to leverage your multi-site agency to scale by cloning template sites to quickly attract archetypal customers with productized solutions. In the traditional web design model, there's very little leverage outside of standardizing on WordPress, customizing themes, and installing plugins. While this is certainly better than starting from the command line, it just isn't something that you can scale. Additionally, while the Patreon example is slick, your multi-site agency shouldn't require stumbling on new technologies or learning random plugins. Instead, it should be all about mastering a handful of basics to solve a wide range of client problems in a highly scalable manner. In fact, it would be ideal if you only had to learn one plugin in order to unlock 90% of the functionality your customers need. It would be even better if it was a mature plugin that you've all heard of and may already know how to use. Now, up until this point, we've talked a lot about multi-site, but haven't really addressed what it takes to launch your own agency. Before we dive into this final topic, we need to get crystal clear on what it is that customers expect from an agency. As simple as possible, it boils down to 4 expectations to achieve one goal: profitable return on ad spend. This requires elegantly acquiring a mix of organic and paid traffic. By delighting customers with beautiful, inspiring, and consistent designs in ads and throughout the entire site, and driving them forward by allowing them to unlock compelling content at each step in their journey, all through effortless interactions with technology on any device or any channel they choose. Quickly delivering a testable framework and continuously iterating and improving it is how you generate profitable return on ad spend. This is what your clients expect. And at Designer Commerce, I sum it up as the art of conversion. Now, of course, there are a million ways to accomplish this, and right now, no one on the planet is better at convincing people that he has the secret sauce than Russell Brunson, the founder of ClickFunnels. I had the honor of meeting Russell at the first Funnel Hacking Live event in Las Vegas shortly after the launch of ClickFunnels, and I have to admit that I've learned a ton by paying attention to what he is up to. Since the launch just a few years ago, ClickFunnels has grown into the fastest growing non-VC backed SaaS startup in the world and generates over $100 million per year. Again, amazing if you are Russell Brunson, but also a bit frustrating if you are one of the tens of thousands of customers who have tried to build a sales funnel but lacks the skills to pull it off. You see, in order to promote ClickFunnels, Russell gives away a ton of amazing stuff like the Funnel Hacker's Cookbook. The cookbook contains super simple recipes for how to use visual blocks to build high converting sales funnels. And a lot of people think, hey, I can do that. When you dig in a little deeper, even a casual glance from a novice Divi designer will quickly generate the response, hey, I can do that, but I know my customers would struggle with it. When it comes right down to it, a sales funnel is just a website optimized to drive traffic through a targeted collection of pages in order to fill out a form. Being able to quickly prototype lead magnets and tripwires and then split test them is incredibly important and quite easy for experienced designers. But ultimately, it all comes down to using web forms to collect email addresses, sign up for webinars, or make a purchase. And this has always been right at the edge of what most designers are comfortable with. Russell unlocked this capability with drag and drop simplicity on ClickFunnels, and funnel hackers around the world are launching 2 and 3 comma businesses one after another. So the $1 million question is this: how do you get access to these same tools for a fraction of the cost of ClickFunnels on a platform that you own outright and already know how to use? More specifically, how can you combine a single plugin with the tools you already know and love to unlock the key functionality of a billion-dollar software company for your own multi-site agency? In the final demo, I'll show you how to combine a plugin you've probably already heard of called Gravity Forms with Divi on top of your Google Cloud-powered multi-site agency to deliver magic for your customers. When you finally understand the power this combination of technologies places at your fingertips, you may actually feel sorry for the big guys with their expensive developers and hosting overhead. Gravity Forms makes building incredibly powerful forms as easy as it is to design beautiful pages in Divi. In fact, once your forms are built, you can place them on any page just as easily as you do for a text box, image, or video. The forms can even be easily styled to match the rest of your page and fit in with the theme of the rest of the site. But the true power of Gravity Forms lies under the surface and is powered by dozens of add-ons. When a user submits a Gravity form, it is entirely possible to subscribe them to an email list on any platform you can imagine, add them as a WordPress user, charge their credit card using Stripe or PayPal or Authorize.net, sign them up for a series of go-to webinars using Zapier, and set up a series of SMS messages using Twilio to make sure that they show up. All from the same form submission. While I'm not saying any of your clients would actually want to do all of these things at the same time, it is incredibly powerful to be able to say, yep, I can do that on my platform. The combinations you can create are truly limitless and obviously too much to cover in this video, but I hope you get the point and stay tuned for more examples to come. I hope that everything I've shared with you up until now has been enlightening, inspiring, or at the very least, entertaining. I've shown you how to launch a scalable multi-site agency so you can create unlimited templates and quickly prototype solutions for your ideal client avatar. We've looked at how unlocking value for a single alpha client with simple customizations proves that you can generate recurring, profitable revenue. I've shown you how to leverage to scale by cloning templates and productizing simple solutions for archetypal customers using only the tools you already know and love. Not too shabby, right? So what happens next? I've shared some big ideas here with you today, and you might be feeling excited, but also a little overwhelmed. And hey, that's totally normal. And you probably have questions about each and every step of the multi-site agency blueprint. You might be wondering things like, what are some of the best avatars to focus on? How do I configure a dedicated domain when I'm ready to go live with a real-life avatar? What if one of my customers is super successful and wants to migrate from multi-site to single-site hosting? If you have those questions, that's great. It means you're starting to realize the potential is there for you to play a bigger game than you have been and to serve the world at a higher level. Yes, to hit your recurring income goals, sure, but also to make a much bigger impact. So if you have questions, don't worry, I've got you covered. The truth is that everyone's business is different. Everyone's expertise is different, and I can't answer all of those questions for you here on this video because I need to know more about you. And I need to know the exact vision you have for your agency and your clients. So here's how I can help. I've set aside some time in the next 48 hours to speak to you personally about how you can apply these ideas in your business starting today. Here's how it works. We'll get on the phone together for about 45 minutes. You can tell me all about your experience, what projects you've worked on, and what problems do you solve? What clients do you dream of working with, and also what clients do you never want to work with again? And on that call, we'll put our heads together and get crystal clear on what you need to do to launch a scalable multi-site agency. The breakthroughs we'll make together on just that one call will be a breath of fresh air. The confusion that you've been stuck on and the contradictory advice people are giving you, it's all going to disappear, and you'll have total certainty about what you need to do next. Now you might be thinking, okay, Donovan, I need this, but how much is it going to cost me? And the answer is nothing. It's absolutely free. There's no charge for this at all. But here's the catch. It's not for everyone. I have 3 standards that you need to meet before we can book a call. Number 1, this is only for you if you are dedicated to the idea that design can solve major life or business problems for your client. Number 2, you must be dedicated to honing your craft as a designer and understand that driving conversion is actually an art form. And number 3, you must hold yourself to the highest standards of integrity. Now, if that's you, I want you to look below this video right now. Click the button that says book your breakthrough session now, or just open up your browser and head over to designercommerce.com/talk. When you click that button, you'll be taken immediately to a calendar page. You'll see a calendar with some available appointment times. Choose whatever appointment time works for you, and I'll call you right at the time you choose. Now keep in mind that you'll be calling me in San Diego, California, and all of the times are listed in Pacific Time or Pacific Daylight Time, PDT. It's that simple. Just be ready for the call and have pen and paper ready to take notes. And be sure to grab a spot now because they're incredibly limited. I don't want you to have to wait to put this information to work. Remember, right now, your perfect clients are looking for you. They're praying for you. They need your help and can't do this alone no matter what they've been told. They don't need another theme or template or Wix or Weebly. They don't need Squarespace or even ClickFunnels. And they certainly don't need some hack off of Fiverr. They need you. But without a strategy like the multi-site agency blueprint that I just shared with you, you're not going to have the time or the tools to help them. And to me, that's the biggest tragedy of all, and that's not what I want for you, and I know it's not what you want for yourself. So click the button under this video or head over to designercommerce.com/talk. Now, one last thing. You might be wondering, why am I doing this? Why is this free? Well, helping designers like you succeed is my mission, and I'm sick and tired of all the slow and backward strategies that other people are teaching. I want you to thrive in your business. I want you to change the world. And if you're using the kind of outdated strategies that everyone else is teaching, you'll never be able to do that. In other words, I want you to win. And when we talk on the phone, you might want my help to transform your business and hit those recurring income goals that we've been talking about. And if so, we can discuss it and see if it's a fit for both of us. And if not, that's fine too. So book your call by clicking the button below or head over to designercommerce.com/talk. You have a choice. You can keep struggling banging out one-off websites, or you can start using strategies that work and work fast to launch your own profitably scalable multi-site agency today. Thanks a ton for your time. Good luck.